Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Friday, the 31st of January 2025. I'm Adam Lang. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, mining, real estate and tech stocks pushed the local share market higher today, with the S&P ASX 200 finishing the day up 0.45% to 8,532 points. It has been a very strong start to the new calendar year, with the S&P ASX 200 up 1.5% for the week and 4.6% just this month. BHP ended higher, as did Rio Tinto, Goodman Group and WiseTech Global, as well as Xero. There appears to be less trepidation about an outbreak of a US-led tariff war, and that's helping equities. It would have been an even better day if not for the fall among the banks. Earlier in the week, their share prices rose, but today all 4 big banks and Macquarie were lower. Telstra was among the worst of the large caps, dropping more than 0.5%. Story number 2. Plenty is going on outside the share market. The rally in Bitcoin slowed somewhat today, with the crypto until now fetching just under US 105,000 a unit. The Aussie dollar, however, isn't having such a good time, and it finished the week at around 62 US cents. Certainly, bond markets are still pricing in a rate cut in the middle of next month in Australia, with all 4 big bank chief economists now calling for a cut. The pressure is on the Reserve Bank of Australia board to provide some relief for mortgage holders. Story number 3, Australian-based Nasdaq-listed Atlassian's share price surged nearly 20% this morning after a very strong December quarter profit report. The company famously didn't have any salespeople in its first decade of existence, but now Chief Executive Mike Cannon-Brookes is singing their praises. This is according to a report in the Australian Financial Review. He said the sales team had some massive customer wins during the quarter. Atlassian's shares climbed 19.5% to their highest level in almost 3 years, adding $4.1 billion to the fortunes of both Mr. Cannon-Brookes and co-founder Scott Farquhar. Story number 4, National Australia Bank is considering opening branches in shopping centres on Sunday and will extend trading hours to all day on Saturday to more than 24 locations, and that's starting this weekend. If National Australia Bank opens on a Sunday, it will be the first major bank to trade on Sundays in decades. Both Commonwealth Bank and ANZ experimented with opening some outlets on Sundays in the past. The bank said its decision to open branches on weekends was not in response to political pressure, and this is according to the Australian Financial Review. Instead, it is in the hope of increasing customer satisfaction scores after positive feedback from trials. Labor and the Coalition have pushed banks to keep branches open, although that effort has really been focused on keeping country sites operating. The last time there was significant competition at bank branches on weekends was in 2007, when Commonwealth Bank said it would open some on Sundays, and at the time ANZ operated 2 branches on Sundays. CBA and Westpac still operate a handful of branches on Saturdays, and National Australia Bank has 12 and will now increase that number by 17. And story number 5, ResMed boss Mick Farrell said the new Trump administration could be a tailwind for the company, likely locking in a supportive taxation environment while potentially imposing tariffs which would disproportionately hit its competitors. Mr. Farrell said, speaking both as chief executive of ResMed and as chair of the industry lobby group AdvaMed, he would prefer that medical devices be carved out of any tariff regimes should they be implemented, and this is according to a report in The Australian. But with ResMed manufacturing its sleep health devices in jurisdictions such as Sydney, Singapore and the US itself, the risk to the company from higher tariffs on countries such as China was not as much of a concern. And on the tax front, the likelihood that changes the president made in his 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which set a flat corporate tax rate of 21%, would remain in place, with some of those changes were due to expire this year, and he said that was a positive. That's it for the afternoon report for Friday, the 31st of January 2025. Make sure you hit follow on the podcast. We'll be back tomorrow morning with the weekend edition of the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. I'm Adam Lang. Enjoy your evening.